So Bitcoin is back in up only mode, and man, Twitter is going off their bananas once again. So the perma bear is back. But listen, I'm going to talk about what I think Bitcoin might be doing next. And I want to talk about why, okay? I think building your narrative is a very important part of trading, and it really helps you build your confidence when it comes to your trades. And this is why even myself as the black sheep, when I was saying we're going way lower and everybody else was saying we're going higher, I was fairly confident that my narrative made more sense than just coming up and taking the all-time high. And right now, Twitter is off their bananas once again. And I'm not saying that Bitcoin can't go higher here, but what I am saying is that Bitcoin is building a story, and it is up to us to identify that story. Now, I want to start by saying in the last video, I made an error and I said Bitcoin must accumulate in order to go higher. Guys, we've already learned this, and I hope you've learned by now, especially if you've been on the channel. You would have made some money, hopefully, on this dump, but not lost a lot of money. It is very important to understand that Bitcoin can do whatever it wants to do. You can never say never. And my error that I made in the last video was that I said it must accumulate. It doesn't have to accumulate, okay? It doesn't have to. Just like it doesn't have to go back up to all-time high. It doesn't have to go to 74. It doesn't have to go to 30. It doesn't have to go up. It doesn't have to go down. It can do whatever it wants. It can be as irrational as it wants. But it is up to us to build our story based on what's going on with the market and the market structure. And that's what I want to illustrate to you right now. And I want to say this, and I want to say this like I said it last time, okay? I said this last time, and I'm going to say it this time. The higher it goes without accumulating, the worse it will be. Now, this is my opinion. Again, it doesn't have to do anything, despite what all these crazy bulltards are saying on Twitter, okay? I think right now, 56, 57K, which we hit overnight, is the point in where the retail FOMO is really starting to kick in, and you can see it. Guys, we're so back. Some people are saying we're going to all-time high this month. Guys, it's like August, I don't know, 8th, 7th. So it's suggesting that in 3 weeks, we're going to be back at all-time high. I can tell you with confidence that I don't believe that that's going to happen. And I want to go over why, okay? So I want you to not pay attention to the noise, just like you shouldn't have paid attention to the noise last time. And if you did, I'm sorry, but I'm going to give you the exact narrative, objectively, what I'm seeing, okay? This is my opinion. Bitcoin, my opinion. Bitcoin must accumulate in order for it to go higher. But I'm not just saying that. I'm not just pulling that out of my ass. It makes sense. I'm going to go over why it makes sense, okay? First things first, your structure on Bitcoin is very bearish, okay? So in order for you to even consider coming to all-time high, some real high-term time frame structure points need to flip, okay? And your 4-hour structure, for example, is all the way up at, give or take 66K, okay? You are right now 17% away from your 4-hour high, okay? We're almost at the 1-hour high. We actually almost hit it yesterday or today, right? Your 1-hour high is just up at 59.5, which means price is allowed to go all the way up to 59.5 while still remaining bearish on the 1-hour time frame. Price is allowed to go all the way up 17% while still remaining bearish on the 4-hour time frame. The reason I say this is because when you accumulate correctly, okay, and when I say accumulation, I mean we came down, we put this wick in, okay, we put in this wick at 48K, whatever it was, and then you come back down again, you range here for a little bit, you stay down like I suggested in the last video that we want to see, and then we sweep this low again. What does that effectively do? Well, that actually changes all of your swing points to a lower point, right? Remember, your 4-hour time frame can go all the way up to 66K while still remaining bearish. And so if we were to come down and take this low once again, your 4-hour high that needs to flip, like in order for you to flip bullish, you need to take that high, jumps down all of a sudden from 66K all the way down to 55K or 57K, whatever the high is, right? Depends on the structure at the time. But the point is when you have a proper accumulation, which is something we did not have the last time we went up only, okay? When you have a proper accumulation, that is where you can really start to get the firepower to send price higher. And if you've been around the channel, you know that this is no different right now. Right now, what we're seeing is no different than what we were seeing at the beginning of July when we hit this low and I was saying, man, we need to accumulate. And again, my opinion, we need to accumulate. Otherwise, it's going to be very bad. When we hit this low, we started building that liquidity. Sure enough, we fell right through it like it was hot butter. All right. this is no different right now, guys. In my opinion, we need to accumulate. I don't think that Bitcoin is going to be able to go higher. And I definitely don't think it's going to go higher this month. I mean, look, I'm not saying short right now. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying I don't think it's necessarily going to go to 74. No way. I don't think it's going to happen this month. No shot. And I'm going to build a narrative behind it in addition to what I'm saying right now. So just like we had all that liquidity on the last one that we didn't come for, and I was saying, and I made tweets, and I'm like, guys, the higher it goes, the worse it'll be. It's the exact same scenario right now. In my opinion, we need to at least come and touch this low one more time, okay? And I think it's a healthy move if it does do that. I think Bitcoin needs to accumulate at the lows because I think that they need to get the firepower to send it up higher. And I'm going to add to that. So on top of the fact that we didn't come and we didn't accumulate once again, and we're seeing signs of people getting a little bit too bullish once again. Oh, bull market is back, all-time high this week or this month. We also are building up liquidity beneath us, okay? So in my opinion, if it's time, or if you're thinking about buying Bitcoin or trading it or whatever, now is not the time to do so, okay? I do think that, if you want to just pull your golden pocket, you could pull your golden pocket, whatever. I mean, this is not necessarily a scalping or a TA kind of video. You could pull your golden pocket. You could look for longs off the golden pocket, trade it back up to the high of the range, down to the range, whatever. My point is right now, in my opinion, is not the time to come and long because we are, I mean, despite the FOMO that's happening on Twitter right now, we are forming weakness at the highs here. Okay, remember, your 1 hour high is still up here. So your 1 hour is still pointing down. I'm going to say that again. We went 18% back up and your 1 hour time frame is still pointing down. And then your 4 hour is still way pointing down. Okay, so price, the higher it goes without taking that low, the worse it's going to be. And that is an important fact that you need to know. And this is, I mean, I think that's a fact, but it's my opinion because you can never say never. At the end of the day, Bitcoin could be 74K tomorrow. Technically, it could be. But we build a case for why it wouldn't be, okay? Why else could it not be? Well, if you're just going to take a look at the macro range here, okay? We've been in the macro range for quite some time. We already know this. We've been in the range. We're kind of still in the range. We just came back into the range right now. But if you come to the macro range, we've been in here for how long, right? 4 months, 5 months, give or take. What makes you think that if all of a sudden now people are going to be interested in buying here, right? We had all this time they could have pushed price up to the all-time high. All this time. What in the world makes you think that people all of a sudden will gain interest up here at these prices now? Okay, I'm going to let you reflect on that for a second. Why do you think that they would do that? They wouldn't, okay? And so this is why we can build a narrative, and this is why alongside structure, you really don't need myself or any other influencer, or I'm not even going to call myself an influencer. I can't even believe I just said that word. Myself or any other content creator, we'll say that, to tell you what's going to happen. There's no need. You don't need the people on Twitter to tell you it's going to go to all-time high because the structure is going to tell you. The market makers are going to tell you, just like the market makers told me that this dump was going to happen and everybody else said it wasn't, okay? And it just comes from building the narrative. So why would people buy here if they didn't buy here this whole time? It's likely not going to happen. What, in my opinion, is more likely to happen is, like I said, we are going to get an accumulation. We're going to range down here. We're going to perhaps take the low one more time and then continue to range and then take the low one more time, or we'll get a higher low. Doesn't matter. My point is I believe that Bitcoin is destined to accumulate as opposed to just doing this up only bull market is back nonsense. Because if we keep going up the way that we keep going up right now, ever so slowly, remember, your 4 hour high is like all the way up at 66K, which means at any point you get a market structure flip up here, where's your automatic target is back down to here. And that's why I said the higher it goes, the worse it will be, right? You can't talk about all-time high until your 4 hour, at the very least, your 4 hour flips bullish, and your 4 hour is so far away. So there's a lot of reason, if we just keep doing this, that's going to also equate to a very big dump, okay? So you need to understand that. Now, if we pull up Market Cipher, let's talk about Market Cipher. And actually, let's talk about this daily SFP as well. Let's start on the daily SFP because people are talking about this. This is objectively a very bullish looking candle, okay? I am not denying that. Not in the slightest am I denying that. However, I want to remind you that, number one, just because you SFP doesn't mean that that is the official low. You could SFP the SFP just like we did up here, okay? And we were talking about this. In this case, at the highs, we SFP'd the SFP, DSFP, right? So there was a lot of reason to go down, and that's why when we built our narrative, we caught the dump and we didn't get wrecked, etc. Okay? But you could SFP the SFP, that's number one. Number two, though, again, this is a very bullish SFP. Once again, I do believe that we need to accumulate. This is my opinion. Now, if we don't come and take the low, if this is the low, and I can't tell you if this is the low, I don't know. I'm not a fortune teller. I am not a fortune cookie. I don't know if this is the low. But if this is the low, I still think we are destined for a range, and I still think all this liquidity is destined to get wiped out. Okay? Doesn't mean we can't continue higher first. Doesn't mean we can't do something like this. Continue, and then we get a big structure flip there. As soon as that happens, we're targeting the lows. Okay? So it doesn't mean that we're going down only right now. It doesn't mean that the low isn't in or whatever the case is. Remember, you can never say never, right? We can't say that. But what we can say is that it is likely, it is probable that Bitcoin is going to put some form of range on some time frame. And right now, we just haven't been getting that range. It's just been this kind of weird looking up only like nonsense kind of. And if you pull where the range would be, you can see that we got a lot of dead space here. So again, I'm not saying it's going down, but I am saying, in my opinion, this is not the time to long. And also, in my opinion, this seems to be where the retail traders and the Twitter traders are getting a little bit overly confident. Okay. Oh man, we're so back. 57K. Bull market is back. 74K this month. I don't think that that's going to happen, guys. Okay. I really don't think that that's going to happen. So though we have a lot of liquidity above and we have reason to go higher for sure, I just don't think it's time. I don't think it's time for that reason. I don't think people are going to buy here because there was no interest here for 4 or 5 months. And I think that we need to properly accumulate. I don't think the dump is over. I said I think 47 is going to come before 74. Maybe I eat my words. I can't be right 100% of the time, but I can be right a good amount of the time. And I have been doing fairly well, being a little bit more cautious than everybody else. And despite being called a perma bear, it seems like being a perma bear has worked out more than it hasn't worked out. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is market cipher. Okay, so market cipher is potentially giving us a bull div on the daily time frame, and not only is it giving us a bull div, but it is giving us a third wave of bull div, which is very strong. I'm not going to sit here and say that this can't be the low. It can be the low. Like I said, you could say anything. It can do this. It can't do that. You can't say can't. You can never say never. It could be the low. I don't know, but what I'm going to tell you about this daily time frame, number one, is it has not confirmed yet. Okay. So I believe today and tomorrow, give or take, is going to be the deciding factor on this daily bull div. Is there a chance that this bull div fails? Absolutely. And I want to explain to you why. Remember, for the last week or so now, not last week, last few days, we've been up only. Okay. Wednesday/Thursday, happens on either day, is midweek reversal. We've been up only. Today might be that midweek reversal. Okay, today may be the day where we come down and we start to fill the lows of this range and we come and look for the golden pocket, etc. Today might be that day. If that happens today, then your daily time frame is going to fake out. Okay, it's going to fake a lot of people out. A lot of people are saying right now bull div on the daily. This could easily either give you a white dot, red dot formation, or it could give you a white dot that gets erased. It doesn't actually print, or it could just roll over and give you something that kind of looks like, let me see if I can find one. But something that looks like this, right? If we zoom in here on market cipher, something that looks like it's going to clip in and then, oh, no, it doesn't, right? Looks like the VWAP is going to cross zero. Oh, it doesn't, right? It very much could give you that. And so today and tomorrow, I think, are going to be the very important days to watch out for this range and see if we come in, we head back down to the lows of the range. Because if we head back to down to the lows of the range, then your bull div on the daily time frame gets invalidated, okay? And, there are other signs of that invalidation potentially coming into fruition. If you come on the 4-hour time frame, for example, what do we have? Look, guys, I want you to pay attention to this. I want you to think of things objectively. I don't want you to be like the bulltards that just think up only, okay? Look at what is happening objectively. Objectively speaking, from this point to this point, we have a decrease in volume, okay? Volume is decreasing. I need you to understand this. Volume is decreasing. Now, you could argue that we had these big spikes in volume because we had the dump, and you're absolutely correct, right? You're absolutely correct. So let's take things a little bit more conservatively, and let's just even take it from the pump that brought us back, okay? Let's move our line to here. You're still getting divs. You're still not getting proper volume come in here, okay? But more importantly than that, right? We're on the 4-hour time frame. More importantly than that, let's look at market cipher. Remember this, guys. Bitcoin is up from the low 18%. If Bitcoin is up 18%, why on earth is the volume not going higher? Why is it not going higher? Look at how you could argue, okay, on the tail end of it, it is, but even right now, you can see that money flow is starting to curve back out, okay? But forget even money flow curving back out. Let's go back a few 4-hour candles. From here, like, look at how, like, just from here to here, I'm gonna get really zoomed in here, so I hope you guys can see it well. From here to here, money is still coming out, but the move has been up only from here to here. Let me make this go in front, bring in front. See how it's ever so slight. It is ever so slight. It is ever so slight, but money was still coming out. At some point, this is a divergence, right? Money is coming out here. Money's coming out. So when you have a 4-hour money flow this thick, okay, and you're this relatively now on this time frame overextended to the upside. Remember, we're 18% straight up now. I'm not saying that we weren't 30% straight down, but the market got to move in cycles, you know? And so when you have this thick money flow and your 4 hours looking like this, let me see if we got our EMAs. Let me see if this is a cheat sheet entry. I actually don't even know. I should have checked this prior. Probably is. Okay. We're not even up at the 50 EMA quite yet. Let's just assume we even make it up here. This would be a 4-hour cheat sheet entry. What is a cheat sheet entry? It's one of my rules that I created with Market Cipher and is where your 50 EMA is below the 200 EMA, check. Your price comes back towards the 50 EMA. Well, if it comes up to that zone, which by the way, 60K is a short zone because we have the CME gap fill as well, which we could also talk about that, but that's another story. Okay. So we could go higher. I'm not saying we're not going higher yet. I'm just saying the higher it goes, the worse it'll be, in my opinion, because we need to accumulate. Or in my opinion, we need to accumulate. But anyways, you have thick red money flow, check. Red dot above the zero line, which is going to happen if it happens here, check. 50 EMA below the 200 EMA, check. Price coming into the 50 EMA, almost check. We might come still higher. I'm not saying we won't, but in the event that we do, great, check. And vector candles that we can come and recover to the left, check. Okay, so all things are pointing right now for this to be a potential cheat sheet entry. And again, in my opinion, the higher we go, the worse it will be. So in my opinion, we are definitely not going to be heading anywhere close to the all-time high this month. No way. I think at the very earliest, we need a couple months. I think maybe October. I don't think we're going to be seeing 70,000s anytime soon. And it's just for this entire narrative that I built. Structure is extremely bearish. In order for Bitcoin to go up and have legs, I think it needs to accumulate. And it would actually be better for Bitcoin to accumulate because it would move all of the higher time frame highs, like your 1 hour high is here, your 4 hour high is here. If Bitcoin were to take the low again, which I'm watching for longs there, if Bitcoin were to take the low again, then all of these points move and jump down here, okay? So once again, guys, I want to encourage you all to not fall for the FOMO. Don't just, oh man, somebody says he's going long, it's going to 50K, it's going to 50K, it's going to 100K. Nobody knows. Look, at the end of the day, nobody knows. And at the end of the day, all of these people that are making these calls, number one, are usually not on YouTube. They're mostly on Twitter hiding behind a cartoon. But more importantly than that, they're not actually out here putting their like words really in person, personally to you, right? Like I'm here telling you exactly how it is. If I'm wrong, I'll eat that. That's fine. But right now, you don't need me or any other creator to tell you what's going to happen. You just need the candles to tell you. And if you can build your narrative, then what is your basically what is your invalidation? Is your invalidation myself or another creator going long against your short? Or is your invalidation what the market is telling you? Because I'll tell you this, if my invalidation was based on my peers' opinions, then I would have gotten absolutely destroyed on this move down because everybody and their mother are aggressively bullish right now. And I'm not saying the low isn't in. I don't know. But I'm definitely not saying that the low is in. And in the event that I'm going to look for a gig along, a swing long, I'll tell you this, these lows, for me, that liquidity, that doesn't look too different than this liquidity. These lows, gotta go, man. So look, that's it for today's update. If you like the content, make sure to hit the like button. If you loved it, hit the subscribe button. All my links are in the description down below. I'm not even going to shill you them. They're all there. candy shop. Get what you want, take what you want, sign up to what you want, join if you want. Not gonna shill it, but I'll catch y'all on the next one.